They laughed. Not the kind of laugh that invites you in. The kind that pushes you out. The kind of laugh that says, "Who do you think you are?" And it stung. The first time it happened. I was 15. I stood in front of my class during career week and said I wanted to start my own company one day. Not a small business. A company. A real one. Big. Bold. Different. The room went silent for a second, and then someone snorted. Then came the chuckles. Then full-blown laughter. Even the teacher smiled, that uncomfortable smile adults give when they think your dream is a little too big. I went home that day quiet. I didn't talk about my dream again for years. Because when people laugh at you, a part of you starts to believe maybe they're right. Maybe dreaming big is foolish. Maybe you should settle, shrink, be realistic. And so I did. I got good at hiding the fire. I built a life that looked fine on paper: college, job, paycheck, weekends off, but inside, I was aching, not because life was bad, but because I knew I was built for something more, and I was pretending not to be. That's the worst kind of pain. The pain of self-betrayal. Of knowing you were made for more but letting fear talk you out of it. The turning point came not from a movie moment or motivational seminar, but from the most unexpected place, a grocery store. I was working there part-time, stocking shelves, when I saw an old high school classmate. He didn't recognize me at first, but when he did, he looked shocked. "Man, I thought you'd be running your own company by now," he said, and then he laughed. Again, but this time, something snapped, not in anger, but in resolve. It was like life was handing me a mirror, saying, "Is this who you are? Or are you ready to become who you were meant to be?" That night, I went home and wrote down the one thing I'd been too scared to admit out loud. I want to build something that matters. I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't have funding. I didn't have support. But I had a decision. And decisions are seeds. I started small, watching YouTube videos on entrepreneurship, reading books, listening to podcasts on the way to work. I gave myself a deadline, 1 year to build a prototype. No excuses. No distractions. 1 year. I cut out Netflix. I stopped partying. I worked evenings and weekends. And every time doubt crept in, I reminded myself, they already laughed. What more do I have to lose? That thought fueled me. It wasn't about proving them wrong anymore. It was about proving myself right. That my dreams weren't ridiculous. They were mine, and that made them worth fighting for. I failed a lot. My first prototype bombed. My website crashed. I got rejected by investors. Some laughed to my face. One email just said, "Cute idea. Good luck." But I kept going, not because I was fearless, but because I'd made a promise to the 15-year-old version of me who got laughed at. I wasn't going to let him down again. And slowly, things started to shift. One customer turned into 10, 10 into 50, 50 into 100. I reinvested every penny. I stayed lean. I stayed focused. And one day, I woke up and realized I hadn't clocked into a job in 6 months. I was making more than I ever had before. On my terms, with something I created. But that wasn't the real win. The real win came the day I got invited back to my high school to speak. They wanted someone inspiring. Someone who had chased a dream. I stood on that same stage one stood on years ago. Same room. Same floor. Same smell. I told them everything. The laughter. The fear. The doubt. And the decision. I looked out at those students and said, "Don't let someone else's disbelief become your ceiling." And in the back of the room, I saw the same teacher. This time, he didn't smile. He stood up and clapped. "Here's what I want you to know. People will laugh. They'll doubt you. They'll tell you to play it safe. And they're not evil. They're just scared. Scared that your courage might remind them of their own buried dreams. Don't hate them, but don't listen to them either. Your dream was given to you, not them. And the moment you stop asking for permission to believe in it, that's when your life begins to change. Not when the business launches. Not when the money comes in. Not when people start clapping. It starts the moment you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need you to believe in you. Because belief is power. It's fuel. And when paired with action, it's unstoppable. The road won't be easy. You will fail. You will fall. You will question everything. But you will rise. Not once. Again and again. Because that's what dreamers do. They get up one more time than they fall. And every no becomes a step closer to a yes. Every closed door becomes redirection. Every laugh becomes fire. The world doesn't need more people who play it safe. It needs people who are brave enough to risk looking foolish in the name of something they believe in. Be that person. Start messy. Start scared. Start without a plan. But start, because your future is waiting. And so is the person you were always meant to be. Let me tell you something they don't talk about in success stories. It's not just about the work you do. It's about who you become when no one believes in you. It's about the person you have to build when every voice around you, including the one inside your own head, is saying, "You can't." They don't teach you how to handle the silence after the laughter. How to sit with your own doubt after the world's already told you to sit down. But that silence? That doubt? That's your raw material. That's where your fire starts. Not when they believe, not when they clap, not when it's easy, but right there, in the dark, in the quiet, when it's just you, your dream, and your decision. And here's what most people miss. You don't get to your dream by waiting for external validation. You get there by refusing to quit on yourself. Every time they laughed, I could have stopped. I could have chosen easy, familiar, acceptable, but I didn't. I chose to build while broke, while insecure, while unknown. I chose progress over pride, growth over comfort, forward over fear. That's the move, not magic, resolve. But if you want practical, let's talk practical. Let's talk about what I did next, how I turned mockery into movement. Step 1. I got clear. Not vague, not, someday I'll be successful. I got razor sharp. I wrote down exactly what I wanted. Not just the money or the house, but the impact, the freedom, the purpose. You can't hit a target you can't see. So I gave my dream a shape. Step 2. I reverse engineered it. I looked at people already doing what I wanted. I studied them, not just what they had, but how they moved, how they thought, what they sacrificed. I didn't copy. I modeled. There's a difference. Modeling is wisdom. Copying is insecurity. I learned fast. I failed faster. I launched messy. I didn't wait to be perfect. I moved in imperfection. Step 3. I built my own table. The invitations never came, so I made my own. I built websites no one visited. I created products no one bought. I offered services no one responded to, at first. But each no refined my message. Each silence sharpened my edge. You don't need a following to start. You need faith in what you're doing, in who you're becoming, in the value you're bringing. Step 4. I treated time like currency. While others were binge watching shows, I was binge learning skills. While they slept in, I woke up and wrote. While they scrolled, I sold. I cut what didn't grow me. That included people. It hurt, but not as much as staying stuck would have. I loved them, but I loved my dream more. Step 5. I tracked results. Weekly, daily, not just money, effort, output, discipline. I gamified my life. I stopped asking, "How do I feel?" and started asking, "What did I build today?" Feelings are liars. Data tells the truth. Step 6. I redefined support. Most people think support is clapping and cheering. But the most powerful support I ever gave myself was silence. Solitude. The kind of time where I faced myself. No distractions. No noise. Just truth. When you get comfortable with silence, you become unshakable. Because you stop relying on the crowd to keep moving. Step 7. I owned my story. I stopped hiding the struggle. I shared it. Not for sympathy, for connection. People relate to your scars, not your highlight reel. So I spoke. I posted. I shared. I showed up even when I was scared. And people started showing up too. Clients, collaborators, supporters. They didn't come because I was perfect. They came because I was real. That's what makes you magnetic. Not polish, not perfection, authenticity. Step 8. I reinvested. Every dollar I earned went back into the mission. Better tools, better training, better systems. I didn't buy status. I built stability. While others flexed, I built. While they posted, I prepared. While they played games, I played the long game. That's how you win. Quiet, consistent, focused. And then it happens. The day they stop laughing. The day you walk into the room and they listen differently. The day the people who doubted you ask you how you did it. That day doesn't come from hope. It comes from hustle, from healing, from holding on when it made no sense to. And when it arrives, you don't feel smug. You feel validated, not by them, by the you who never quit. The you who kept building in the dark. The you who stayed when everything said, leave. That's the real win. Not just the income, not just the success, but the becoming. You built resilience. You built character. You became the person your younger self was praying for. And now? Now you carry that fire forward. You stop hiding. You stop waiting. You stop asking if your dreams are too big for the room. You walk in and build bigger rooms. You don't apologize for your ambition. You don't shrink to fit their comfort zone. You expand, boldly, consistently, loud if you want, quiet if you need, but always moving forward. So here's the final truth. They laughed because they didn't understand your vision. They laughed because they couldn't see what you saw. They laughed because they stopped dreaming, and your courage reminded them of what they lost. Don't take it personal. Take it as fuel, because the same people who laughed today, some will clap tomorrow. Others won't. That's okay. You don't need everyone. You just need to keep building. Keep believing. Keep becoming. Because this story isn't about them. It's about you, your dream, your grind, your legacy. And it's just getting started.